Okay, so we're looking at this program mainly because of the enum use that he has. So not only he's using one character for the enum, he's using the or. So basically he's using either or. So for rock you can have lowercase and uppercase R. For paper you can have lowercase or uppercase P. So he's creating an enum with a character, and each one of them is going to have two characters in it. Defining the enum. So he's using it in right here, for example. He's looking at the move 1 to be rock, which means what? It's going to be lowercase r or uppercase r. And the move 2 is going to be scissors. That's going to be what? Lowercase s or uppercase s. So that's what you're using the enum. That's actually a very good way of using the enum in there. He could use the same concept in a switch statement, would do the same thing. So we would have a switch of move 1, case rock, and the other one would be the case scissor. That's what you were trying to do, right? You were going to put it in the switch. Anything else you want to add to this? It doesn't see out what? Okay, we can do that. Did you use the enum in your other program too? No, only this one. Okay. Any other any other volunteer that they want to share their program with the class? If I don't have a volunteer, I'm going to call a volunteer. I want to go over a couple of programs so we can be sure that we are on the same page. Maybe another, I don't know. We gotta, because a lot of questions come in the same way. So, who wants to go over the program? Okay, come over here. Help me out. What's your name?
Tao, last name. Last one.
So we're looking at assignment 5 with Mr. Tao over here. Let's go with do you want to grab a chair? You okay? Okay. Is that yours? Okay, so we're starting with the top portion. We have to have description on the top of the program, and we have to have the run at the bottom of the program. The sample run goes on the bottom. I was looking at some program that didn't have those. In top here, you have to have a brief description of what this program is doing. And he has the indentation pretty good over here. So when we are writing the program, we want to be sure that everything is indented, not all one line. The variables should be meaningful. I, J, K, those are not acceptable. I've been saying that. Let me get another one that we can. Well, I want to use something that I can. Let me go with this one. Yeah, when I open it with Firefox, I cannot edit it. So let me try this one. Okay. Another thing that I was talking earlier, there is a function that is called system that is available for Windows and available for Linux. So it's going to be available for Mac if you're using the Linux part of it. Then we're going to be using the pound include. We're going to be using pound include. It's going to be the stdlib.h. And this one we can use the system command that we can put things like clear screen, CLS for clear screen. We can put pause. So if I have a display that I want to pause it, I can use the pause in there and it's going to stop. So if I want to create a pause, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write if we have a count over here, right? Total times. Okay, so if I have a count, I'm going to say count, if I spell it correctly, count percent. I'm going to put 15 here, okay? And then I'm going to say not. So in what condition this is going to be true? In what condition this statement is going to be true? I'm saying if not count percent 15. If I want to make it a little cleaner, I can put the parentheses around this. So right. So every 15 times this is going to be true, right? So if I have a big display, I'm going to do it like this. So every 15 lines or every 15 display is going to pause. Pause is going to stop and say enter to continue. So if you push and it's going to wait over there for you push any key to continue. So that's going to, if you have for your interest rate or any program like that, that you have a large display, if you have 15, 20, 30 lines of display, you're going to stop it in every 15, 20. So if I change this to 20, it's going to be every 20. If I change it to 5, every 5 lines. I can put that one, if I have an infinite loop, I can put that inside my loop, so it goes one line and it's going to stop, one line is stop to see where the problem is. Okay? So that is for that one. There is another command for the system that can come handy, and that would be system color. That is going to take 2 hexadecimal, the first one for the background and the second one for the text. So I can use that one for this part, and I can change the color in the background, I can change the color of the text. It's a hex, so you can go from 1, 0 to F, 0 being black, F being white, and different colors in there. So what happened to the message? You're supposed to give us some kind of a message. Did I mess it up? So I can change the color for wherever I go. And I could use the clear screen, so I can clear a screen before I give my messages. So if I take this one and put it right before I... So what is missing on the top is what? To guide the user, what are we doing, right? So we're supposed to do some kind of a see out over here, saying that please enter, oh, this one. Oh, I did the clear screen after that, so that was my mistake. So another thing that we want to do is we want to put our see out and the program away from the variable declaration. So it's going to be in there. Another thing that we want to do is whenever we're dividing by number, we want to check it to be sure it is not going to be 0. So we have to check so we don't get this kind of exceptions, because we are dividing by 0 in here. So what we have to do is we have to say if this total of times is not equal 0, then I can do this. And next line is going to be what? If positive, no, we don't want to put the else over here. We want to do all of this. Not equal 0, we're going to do that one. So every time we're dividing by a number, we want to be sure it's not going to be 0. And of course, you want to put some line between them to make it a little easier to read, right? Any other things that you guys experience when writing this program that you want to add to what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Okay, we're going to look at yours. That's going to be different than this one. That's the things that I'm telling you guys is usually my suggestion. Doesn't mean that you have to do it my way. That's why I want to share some of this program to see that people do things differently, and that's what I like about computer science, that you're going to be creative. And that's why I know if somebody has copied somebody else's program. Because even though I have 30 students here and 30 students in the morning, there is no way 60 people will write exactly the same program, even though the requirement is exactly the same thing. I have 60 people who are having different way of writing exactly the same requirement. And that's okay. And that's what I like about it anyway. So when you copy somebody else's program, it's not very hard to say that's not your program. Yes, sir. Font size? I don't have no idea. You figure it out, let me know. That's as far as I went with the system, was the color and the text color. I'm pretty sure there is going to be some kind of a font size. I would say instead of color, you would have font size maybe. Let's see if it's going to compile. Hey, it worked. What does it say? Font size is not recognized as a system thing. All right, so we figured it out. It's got to be something in that system thing.
What if it's space between font and size?
I don't know. We gotta. So if I change this one, let's say to 1 and 6, and change the other one to F and 0. So I switch it. F and 0 versus 0F is the default. So we're going to look at the same program from somebody else. Assignment 5. Thank you for the information. So this is another version of the same one. So the average is calculated inside the loop. So this is happening every single time, every time we're going through the loop, right? Or am I reading this wrong? Do we want to do that or not? Do we want to put the average inside the loop? Okay. That is correct. It's going to come up with the right answer. But the thing is, if I have 20 numbers, it's going to do this 20 times. Versus if I have it outside the loop, it's going to do it only one time. So we got to see why your computer crashed. Most likely you were dividing by 0. So I would take this one, I put it outside, and I check for the 0. Usually that's the case. I have seen some people using the same program in a different machine, and it didn't blow up even if it was dividing by 0. So that's a different way of doing the same program. So I'm going to go back to Mr. Tao. So we're looking at the chapter 3, problem 1. Okay. So once again, he's got the good explanation on the top. One thing that I would do here, that system clear screen, I would use it for player 1 against player 2. That way player 2 would not see what's happening with the player 1, right? So I would put over here system So right here, between those two, I would clear a screen. That way the player 1 cannot see the player 2, right? And if I want to be creative, I can start changing the screen color over here. Just trying out different numbers. And in this program, we were supposed to keep track of the score, right? We were supposed to keep track of the score for the players. I don't see it in this program. That's part of the program, that you were supposed to keep track of the score. Player 1, player 2, you got to keep track of the score. It says in the problem. I'll read it again. It's asking to keep track of the score.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Somebody read it this morning. Read it again. Okay, we look at that one.
Sir, can we do like when you're entering a letter, it shows that it's only a star on it, like those websites which ask you to enter the password and like get on me?
Right. The question is if we are entering the character, we can put the star on top of it. Yes, you can. Once again, in C++, there is not that I cannot do it. There is the question that how can I do it? It's almost impossible to find something you cannot do in C++. So the way that you can do it on console, remember, if it's going to be the text box, you can do the different things. But on the console, the only way I know how to do it is just go back and write a star on where you were before. So somebody would enter something and you would write a star on where it is. And you're going to see that. That's going back. And we're going to see how to go back. So as soon as somebody put the number, you're going to go back and fill it up with the star. Yes, sir. We're going to do yours. Also, we have to catch the errors. So when somebody enters, don't go. Wait for me. So somebody puts something wrong, you have to catch it. So the player 1 is going to put R, and we're going to clear it, and we're going to put the player 2. That's going to be, what's going to happen if player 2 put the wrong one? So it doesn't give you an error message, but it tells you to start. It doesn't do anything about it.
I put it default.
You put it as a default, but in the default you want to put some kind of an error message catching it.
Again, but I didn't see it.
Okay, I'll get back to this. Let me look at this one. Hold on, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Wait. So we're looking at the needs grading, and we're going to go with Benjamin, right? Oh, I guess you like to submit so many assignments, right?
It's one of those. I think it's like 5, maybe 4. No, it's not. That's the horoscope. What number was the project for Rock, Paper, Scissors?
Right here.
Chapter 3.1.
Oh, it's at C.
Then the one right after that should be the right one.
After that,
Yeah. It should be the right file type. So
this one or that one? 6?
Yeah, there we go. The right one. The one that says Rock, Paper, Scissors. You're killing me.
No, I didn't bring my brain today. So we can keep track of a score. We start with the 0, and every time somebody wins, we just add 1 to the score of the player 1, a score of player 2, and that's the way you're going to keep track of it when you're playing. So the requirement for this was to use switch, and he did not use switch. So what is the switch? Oh, here we go. Oh, this is for the catching the error. I'm sorry. So this is going to stay here till the person put R, P, or S. If anything else goes, it's going to stay here. Weapon doesn't exist. So he's catching it over here, and that's the way I like to do it, that when somebody's entering a data, you try to catch the errors right there. You do not move or forward if there is any errors in the input. That way you don't have to run the whole program. So you stay here to be sure that the player 1 is doing it correctly. Then you stay here to be sure that player 2 is putting it correctly. Now if it's going to be T or something else, and then we're going to use the switch. He's using a switch. Very good. And the score is going to be played down here. Player 1 is going to be, I'm going to put the T by mistake, so it's going to, it doesn't exist. I'm going to do that's a pause. You can see that's a pause. So player 1, I put the E by mistake. It does not exist. That's press any key to continue. That's the pause one. So we continue. He's clearing the screen again. So I put R in there. Player 2 is going to get only the screen for player 2, not be able to see the other one. If I put W over here, we say continue till we get the correct one for this one, and then player 1 wins, and keeping track of the score. Okay, now let's look at the book to be sure the
You didn't say you counted scores, right?
well, maybe that was a previous version then. Yeah, okay. I guess this book doesn't say. You guys are right. All right. So any questions on this stuff? Anybody else want to share any program, any experience, anything that you guys had found something that you want to share, or you had difficulty you want to share with the class? You have a trouble with the for loop. How do we define the for loop? And another thing that we're going to figure out is if we can use, definitely we can, use the enum in a for loop. But that's going to be a little extra work. So that's going to be extra credit for you. For loop, we're going to initialize it first, right? So the way we're going to do it is what? Remember, we have initialize, check, and change, right? So I'm going to initialize over here, I equal 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Okay, so this loop is going to start with 0, it's going to go to 9, that would be count 10, and then I'm going to add 1 to it every time you come around. So if I put braces over here, this block of code is going to be happening 10 times. And every time my I has been changed, so if I use I over here, it's going to give me 10 times. Any other questions before I turn this microphone off? Remember, all of these are taping, and it's going to be on the classroom. Integrity. Let me know what you guys think about it, if you look at it or you listen to it, or so we can put this on the Facebook.
0 or 10 are the variable defined previously.
You can use the variables that defined previously, no problem. So instead of 0 or 10, you can use something. We can look at yours. Submit it here. Let's look at it all together. Send it either through the messages or submission, and then we can display it over here and see what's the problem with yours. Yes, sir.
See if there's a more efficient way if I'm doing this. You would check that.
So remember.
Check that.
So remember, if you are checking your for horoscope, if you're checking your entry, so if I'm checking my month before I move on, so when I ask the user to enter the month, I'm going to check to be sure it's between 1 and 12. When I ask for the day, I check to be sure it's between 1 and 31. So when I do that throughout my program, I don't have to worry about the upper and lower end. So when I'm looking at a day for inside the month, when I say greater than 21, that's automatically it's going to be less than 31 because I know it's not going to go beyond that. I already check it in my input. So I don't have to worry about that. And if I'm using for the less than 19, I know it's going to be higher than 1 because I already checked my lower bound. I can put it in the comment saying that I'm already checking my lower bound and upper bound in the input. And that way I don't have to worry about it inside my program. And I know my data is correct. So what is your next question?
So the question is to go ahead and check that is by right off the top once they put it in, checking to see.
I would use the do while, so it's going to be do. Then you're going to do the see out. Please enter the month between 1 and 12, and then the while is going to stay there. So this if statement is going to be while month is less than 1 or month is greater than 12. I'm going to repeat that section. So that if statement is going to be changed to while. And you're going to put a do right here between these two lines. No, that's for the lower one. You need another. No, put a do right here.
Here.
On the top, up right there.
Another one.
Yes. So that do is going to cover this section. Did you send your? Where did you send it to?
Assignment 6.
Name, please. Lee, right? Lee. Assignment 6. So her question is about the for loop that does not work. She's trying to use the variable for a for loop that she says it's not working. Where is that for loop that's not working? Are we talking about this one right here? Okay, we are looking at this one to see what is the problem with this one. She's setting it to repeat M. So hopefully it's going to come up from somewhere, and then the n is greater than 1 and n minus C out M. Why do you think it's not working? Say what again? Semicolons. Anything else? I'm glad I put it up to here because I wasn't looking at the comma versus semicolon. I was looking at something else. Any questions on this program? All right. Any other question about anything else? I moved assignment 6 to Sunday, assignment 7 to, I believe, Wednesday.
Next one?
Yes. So I pushed the two assignments forward, so we have a little more time to work on these things. Check the announcement. I put it in the announcement and check the date for it. Any other questions?